Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the June regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners. We'll begin by calling the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Present.
Mrs. Hall.
Present.
Mr. Siegel.
Here.
Mr. Holmes.
Here.
Here. Mr. Connell.
Here.
Mr. Wexler.
Here.
Mr. Heilman.
Here.
And Mr. Oliva.
Here. We have our opening opening prayer is by Father James Cox.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Father Cox's first meeting here at the Commissioners' meeting room, so give him a warm welcome and make him feel at home. Thank you very much.
Did you bring your rosaries? Let us bow our heads in prayer. Blessed are you, Lord our God, maker of the universe and Father of all. Guide our commissioners as they meet this evening, and help them to serve the people of Haverford Town. Bring success to their work, and reward them for the good they do. We ask your blessings on all who serve our township, and especially the members of the Brookline Fire Company as they celebrate 100 years of service. For all those who will be awarded today for their service, we ask you to bless them and their families. In your holy name, we ask these prayers. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Our first award, we have a award presentation to the Haverford Township EMS from the American Heart Association. Here we have Lori St. Clair.
Hi, I am Laurie St. Clair, and I'm the Director of Mission Lifeline for the American Heart Association. And I'm very excited to be here tonight to celebrate the achievements of Haverford Township EMS on the quality of care provided and the impact it's having in the communities it serves on reducing death and disability from the most serious type of heart attack, which is called a STEMI. The American Heart Association recognizes the critical life-saving role EMS provides to the overall success of STEMI systems of care. The correct tools and training allow EMS providers to rapidly identify the STEMI heart attack, promptly notify the destination center, and activate an early response from the awaiting hospital personnel. As an EMS agency that delivers education and STEMI education, provides access to 12-lead ECG machines, and develops protocols derived from the ACCHA guidelines on heart attack recommendations. Your pre-hospital professionals are driving improvements in the care of heart attack patients every day. Beyond these basic components of a high-functioning heart attack STEMI system of care, Haverford Township EMS is part of an elite group of EMS agencies in the U.S. focused on high-functioning and high-quality heart attack systems of care. Haverford joins 207 other EMS agencies in the U.S. and only one of 29 other EMS agencies in Pennsylvania that are receiving the inaugural 2014 American Heart Association Mission Lifeline EMS Performance Achievement Award. People are celebrating life today because of the hard work and dedication of Haverford Township EMS. Your community should be very proud of your pre-hospital care professionals. So on behalf of all the staff and volunteers of the American Heart Association, I would like to present Haverford Township EMS with the American Heart Association's Mission Lifeline 2014 EMS Performance Achievement Award. Congratulations.
Lori, thank you very much. We appreciate it. This award is the result of an awful lot of hard work. And these are some of the rescuers. This is their award. They're the people night and day who are making this happen. And Haverford Township has a very long tradition of being forerunners when it comes to cardiac care and emergency services. We're actually the first EMS agency in the tri-state area to actually transmit a 12-lead EKG, and that was a number of years ago. It was to Bryn Mawr Hospital. We've tried to always be on the cutting edge of EMS. I'd like to just take one more moment. I knew this award was coming, so I had just a moment to prepare a little bit here. The first medical director that we had in the township was Dr. Fritz Gallagher. He's a good friend to quite a few of us. And in 1983, if any of them smile, let me know, because they're behind me. In 1983, when I became a paramedic, Fritz Gallagher said to my class, in all circumstances, do what's best for the patient. You'll get some grief, but always be patient focused, and you can't go wrong. At the end, you'll always be right. Always earn favor of the patient, and always be progressive in patient care. And we continue to do that. You have my assurance and the assurance of these rescuers and all the rescuers in Haverford Township, from the Manila Fire Company, from Lanark Fire Company, from Haverford Paramedics, all together, that we will continue to try to give the best possible care that can be received in Haverford Township. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, we want a picture from the podium, gentlemen. Yes.
You don't want to get in there, Gary?
Lori, you have to get in the middle of this.
What? Fine.
Keep going, guys. Go full out of yellow. Thank you. There you go, right here. Yeah. Thank you. Good day. How are you, sir? Right here.
It's a nice picture.
Joining us in that. Thank you. That photograph was Dr. O'Day and Kim Mayhew, who, Dr. O'Day is the head of cardiology at Bryn Mawr Hospital, and Kim Mayhew runs the heart rescue program. We work with them every day to achieve this goal.
That was nice
Thank
of
you.
them to come.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, now we have our proclamation, starting with Eagle Scout Daniel Joseph Lowry.
Daniel? It's always an honor to, and a thrill for me to be up here to recognize our young scouts. This proclamation reads, whereas the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford, County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, takes great pleasure in acknowledging notable achievements of young adults in the community. And whereas the Board of Commissioners wish to applaud Daniel Joseph Lowry for earning the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Daniel, a sophomore at Haverford High School, has participated in scouting programs for over 10 years, beginning as a Tiger Scout and advancing to the highest level, Eagle Scout. And whereas Daniel's Eagle Scout project consisted of constructing 4 concrete wood benches for the retired Teachers Memorial located in front of Linwood Elementary School. He also worked closely with the school principal, Susan Mingri, I don't have my
Mingy.
glasses, sorry.
Susan Mingy.
To plan and install the benches which complement an earlier Girl Scout project. And whereas, in addition to earning the rank of Eagle Scout, Dan has participated in numerous sports and church activities and has been recognized for many outstanding achievements. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford, County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that said Board of Commissioners hereby acknowledges and congratulates Daniel Joseph Lowry for your many contributions to your troop and community with your long hours and dedicated work. Our blessings go with you as you face new challenges. Proclaimed this first day of June 2014, Township of Haverford, Mario Olivia, President, Board of Commissioners. Larry Gentili, the Township Manager. Parents are right here. Why don't you come on up and get a picture with Daniel? Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Put you on the spot, huh?
Now Commissioner Holmes will present our second and third Eagle Scout.
Mr. President, thank you. Like Commissioner D'Amelio, I am also, it is always a privilege to be up here to herald the accomplishments of our young scouts here in the town. And I had the privilege of being invited by the Shevchenkos last week to be at the ceremony for Peter and for Misha. And in preparing for that, I learned a few facts, and they're worth sharing with everybody here. These three Eagle Scouts, the two Shevchenkos as well as Mr. Lowry here, now have far more in common with a former President of the United States, 9 Nobel Prize winners, 7 Medal of Honor winners, 40 astronauts, the current mayor of the city of New York, and numerous other luminaries in our society, both present and past, who have done the work of an Eagle Scout, and the millions of hours that are put in every year by Eagle Scouts doing their service and then later contributing more service to the community at the local level adds up to the equivalent of thousands of full-time people working every day. And it's something worth noting, and it's important that we as a community come out and herald these people. So I want to invite Mikhail Alexander Shevchenko and his brother Peter Alexander Shevchenko to come forward. I have 2 proclamations to read. They're going to take a while, but I wanted both boys to be up here. They are not twins. They are a year apart in school. Peter is not one to let Misha get much press ahead of him, so he insisted on speeding up his process and being honored at the same time that his brother was honored by earning Eagle Scout. So I am going to start with the older one. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford, County of Delaware, County of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, takes great pleasure in acknowledging notable achievements of young adults in the community. And whereas the Board of Commissioners wish to applaud Mikhail Alexander Shevchenko for earning the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Misha has held various leadership positions, scribe, patrol leader, bugler, and currently assistant senior patrol leader, while achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Misha's Eagle Scout project consisted of creating an outdoor classroom in the woods at Rose Glen Park for the Lower Merion Conservancy. And whereas the classroom, without walls, is fitted with wood stumps for benches and a carpet of mulch for the flooring. With a crew of 16 different volunteers and 42 hours spent on this project, they cleared a 50-foot circle of dead plants and leaves, as well as constructing a 120-foot long trail that leads from the back of the Conservancy house to the clearing. They lined the trail that was cleared with stones and covered it with a membrane barrier to inhibit future weed growth. Misha's crew got cross-sections of logs and placed them vertically around the clearing to be used as stump seats. The clearing is now used as an outdoor learning center for the Conservancy's children's programs during the school year and the summer. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford, County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that the Board of Commissioners hereby acknowledges and congratulates Mikhail Alexander Shevchenko for your many contributions to your troop and community with your long hours and dedicated work. Our blessings go with you as you face new challenges. It's 9th day of June, 2014. Gotta wait while Peter. Okay. Now, whereas the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford, County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania take great pleasure in acknowledging additional notable achievements of young adults in our community. And whereas our board wished to applaud Peter Alexander Shevchenko for earning the rank of Eagle Scout. Whereas Peter has held various leadership positions, assistant patrol leader, quartermaster, troop guide, and currently patrol leader, while achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Peter's Eagle Scout project consisted of designing and building a bird feeder system at the Lower Merion Conservancy office, with a team of 12 volunteers and 36 hours of planning and implementing the feeder project, they cleared away undesirable weed and shrub growth from the area surrounding and removed the post from the old feeder system. And whereas the bird feeder system support system at the Conservancy was a state of disrepair, Peter was authorized to tear it down and design and build a new platform for the bird feeders, building a post and lintel stand that could house 4 different bird feeders and fitted with hooks and pulleys for lowering the feeders for filling. Included in the feeder frame is a baffle made of aluminum flashing to protect the feeders from raccoons and squirrels. Space around the feeder system will now allow for school groups to gather and observe the different species of birds that are attracted to the 4 feeders and to easily lower and raise the feeders for filling. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford, County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that said Board of Commissioners hereby acknowledges and congratulates Peter Alexander Shevchenko for his many contributions to the troop and community with his long hours and dedicated work. Our blessings go with you as you face new challenges. Proclaimed this 9th day of June, 2014. If I could ask Gina and Alex to come up and we could get a photo.
So I don't know if you want to start.
Okay. As many of you are aware, we had a, a bank robbery on Thursday, and we are going to have the chief speak about that robbery. Chief?
Thank you, Commissioner. Mark? I'd like to introduce these officers. I have Officer Mark Moreview, Officer Nicholas Nawn, Officer Doug Linker and his canine partner Django, and Officer Stephen Gill and his partner Yeager. Last month, Commissioner D'Amelio gave an update on the progress of our newly formed canine unit. There remains interest in their activities and progress. So given the opportunity to acknowledge an accomplishment of the canines and the department, they stand before you tonight. The dogs have been very busy lately. For example, today, at the request of another police department, all 4 of our canines participated in a drug search of school lockers at Delaware County High School. I'm told this went very well. I want to thank the commissioners for their support in the canine program. Speaking for the officers, they are thrilled to have them working with them on this police department. But on Thursday, June the 5th, 2014, 2 men from Philadelphia traveled to Havertown to rob the Santander Bank, located in the Manoa Shopping Center. These men are no strangers to crime. Their rap sheets combined totaled 38 printed pages. It detailed an extensive list of prior arrests and convictions for drugs, thefts, burglaries, and assaults. The 2 bank robbers commonly walked into the Santander Bank at approximately 1:45 p.m. and handed the teller a note. It read, "Stay calm, no GPS, no die, I have a gun, don't get hurt." They gave the teller a black canvas bag to fill with money. When it was full, they took it and ran. Fortunately, Officer Mark Moreview was on patrol in the area. He was flagged down by 2 witnesses who just happened to be township employees. They told him the bank was just robbed. Officer Moreview immediately got a description of the actors and put out a radio message to all officers on patrol. Moreview then went into the bank to check on their safety and gather other information. Almost immediately, police officer Stephen Gill and his canine partner Yeager saw 2 men fitting the description. As Gill approached, they both ran in different directions. Gill and his canine partner gave foot chase after one actor, which they did overtake and apprehend as he was trying to hide in a rear yard. The other actor was contained in a police dragnet near Merlin and Roosevelt. It was at this location Officer Nawn observed what appeared to be a person hiding under heavy shrub cover. Officers believing this was the actor attempted to get him to surrender. However, he resisted. Officer Doug Linker and his K-9 partner Django moved in to take control. The actor, ignoring police commands and still physically resisting, managed to kick K-9 Django in his head. Django responded swiftly, causing the actor to immediately surrender. He was taken into custody without further incident. After the arrest, the detectives looked at the bank video. They discovered that the two actors wore sunglasses and different clothing during the robbery. It was critical to recover this evidence. K-9s were again deployed to conduct an article search of this entire area of the neighborhoods. K-9 Django located the glasses and the clothing, along with the banknote discarded by the actors, thrown inside a trash dumpster located in the parking lot at the Manoa Community Church. So many factors led to a quick resolution of the apprehension of these men. There were 26 other police officers on location that assisted in other ways, which included securing the perimeter, protecting the public, searching and recovering all the stolen money from the bank. However, the actions of Officer Moorview and Dawn, the K-9 teams Gill and Yeager, and Linker and Django were major contributors in the quick apprehension of these actors, along with the recovery of all the evidence. So it is for this and many other reasons that I am grateful and proud to be the leader of an outstanding police department. To present the official award, Haverford Township Commissioners Steve D'Amelio, Jeff Heilman.
Well, it's a great night in Haverford Township. It's a great night for our emergency services, our scouts. This proves what a great community that we live in. I think it's no secret that I've been a big fan of the K-9 unit since the chief came to me with a concept several years ago. I've researched it and I've watched some of the training before we even thought about getting the dogs, and I was very impressed with them. And I knew that after several incidents in the first ward, and we have had some, I think, in your ward too, where we've had suspects hiding in bushes and throwing evidence out, and just that these dogs would be instrumental in solving crime quickly in our township. So it certainly is an honor for me to be standing here recognizing our police department and the K-9 unit. I'm going to read just the top because I don't have my glasses, and I almost butchered Daniel's proclamation, so I'll have Jeff read the remainder. This is a commendation of merit presented to Officer Mark Moorview, Officer Nicholas Nawn, Officer Douglas Linker, and K-9 Django, Officer Stephen Gill, and K-9 Jagger.
On Thursday, June 5th, 2014, at approximately 13:48 hours, two men robbed the Santander Bank located in the Manoa Shopping Center. Officer Moorview, while on patrol, was flagged down by two witnesses who reported that the Santander Bank was just held up. Officer Moorview immediately gave out the description of the actors. Officer Gill, who was responding to the robbery, observed the two males matching the description of the robbers walking on Sunny Hill Lane. When Officer Gill attempted to stop the males, they fled into the neighborhood. Officer Gill, along with his K-9 partner Jagger, immediately gave chase on foot and apprehended one of the fleeing suspects. Officers immediately closed the surrounding streets, and K-9 units began to conduct a methodical search of the neighborhood. During the search, Officer Nawn, who was assisting Officer Linker and his K-9 partner Django, observed the second suspect hiding under bushes on a private residence. Officers attempted to take the suspects into custody, but he resisted, and Officer Linker had to deploy his K-9 partner Django to assist in taking the suspect into custody. The quick actions of Officers Moorview, Nawn, Linker, and Gill, together with K-9s Django and Yeager, were in the highest standards of Haverford Township Police Department. They acted in an alert, professional, intelligent manner, which resulted in the arrest of both individuals within minutes. The officers' actions are a credit to themselves, the Haverford Township Police Department, and Haverford Township community. They are hereby awarded the official commendation of merit, proclaimed this 9th day of June, 2014. Township of Haverford Board of Commissioners, Mario Oliva, President. More of you?
Oh, there, there.
This will be for the chief. This one's for the chief. We'll give you this one, okay? Okay, this one is for Officer Non. Congratulations. This one is commendation mark for Officer Douglas Linker and K-9 Django.
Django was the canine that was kicked. He's doing good.
He wants it. And the last one is commendation mark for Officer Stephen Gill and K-9 Yeager.
Let's go over here.
Over here.
Come on, Jeff. Go ahead, take a spot right up
If I got kicked to the head, I wouldn't be doing as good as that dog.
Should we try it?
No, no.
Yeah, try. Like that didn't go to anybody's head. Yeah. Take 5 to let everybody clear around. Okay. Then I'm going to take 5 so that everybody can clear out.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're going to take 5 minutes to let everybody clear out. Get everybody. All right, let's reconvene here and begin with. We'll start with the township auditor update.
Okay, that's what I was.
Good evening. I reviewed the check disbursements for the period commencing May 13th and ending June the 9th. I raised 8 questions. Each of my questions was answered to my satisfaction. So in my opinion, there are no irregularities for the check disbursement for such period. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Something for everything tonight.
Okay, next we will be discussing the feasibility study for the police, municipal, and library design.
Did you want to start,
No,
go
you
down
can-
the commissioners, or what do you think
No,
the
you can
best
just
way
go
to
ahead.
handle it? Do you have any questions?
No,
You wanna start?
are you have a presentation?
No, we were just going to ask questions. Do you
Oh.
have questions?
This is
not
just
right
an open discussion for the commissioners.
Yeah.
We're doing this before we do the citizens forum, so that the citizens can hear what we have to say about this building and then comment on it as we move forward. So, we're continuing discussion, Larry?
Can we hear what they have to say?
Well, as you know, I had to miss last week's thing, so I'm still digesting everything. I don't actually have anything intelligent to say right now, other than that the work obviously reflects a great deal of thought. Yeah, I know, I gave you that one. So, I mean, since I know we are considering and going to discuss this evening the appropriate date to vote on these issues, I'm just going to keep studying the information that I have.
Okay.
Commissioner Holmes, I wanted to bring up that I think it's important to stress to the audience and the residents of the township that at this juncture, because I received some emails concerning this, at this juncture, we're not able to look at, the architectural designs, estimates of costs in terms of a particular building, because we haven't decided on a particular building. And I think that there's a little, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's a little confusion as to, what we're trying to decide. And what we're trying to decide is what building we're building and where. And that we're not at a point where we can tell you, where the elevator is going to be in a particular building, because we haven't decided what building is going where yet. So I just want to be clear on that because I'm getting a lot of questions about that. And I think there's a little confusion as to how much detail we can get into at this particular time.
Right.
Well, I think it's worth noting, I mean, this is not unusual in what we've been dealing with for the project at Haverford Reserve,
Right.
for the ultimate designs of the Community Recreation and Education Center, Environmental Center. There are various milestones along the way that we had to vote on, and if there's 10 different things we need to vote on, number 9 and number 10 are the final design and then
That's right.
borrowing the money to pay for it. Number 1 is, are we going to buy this property? Number
Right.
2 is, how many things are we going to construct on it? The CREC, one of the things we had to vote on ultimately was whether or not there was going to be a pool in there. And certainly it was still years before we borrowed a penny to do anything or break ground there. So, we're at the stage right now of deciding what it is we're going to do with our township property and what's the basic structure we're talking about. And then a lot of other things have to happen before any ground is broken or any money is borrowed.
Correct. And I think a couple other things that came to my mind when I was reviewing these, and I went through everything that was given to us last week. I think there's something in particular with the library is that it was put up that there's possibly over the next street over that land could possibly be purchased there for a parking lot. And I think that, I was not on the board at the time, but I think that was addressed previously, and that is not something that's feasible. And I drove down that street, and there's 4 really beautiful homes on that street. I can't imagine that they would, sell their homes for a parking lot. So I'm not sure that can play into that one particular scheme, which was presented concerning the library and building parking over there. And that was actually option 2 of renovate the existing building per full Casaccio report, and then with option 4 to adjacent parcel demolition and site work to create 14 additional parking spots. I just don't think that's feasible. So I'm not sure if that's something that can even be considered within these schemes. The other thing that I was hoping maybe to be able to ask Mr. Pannoni a couple of questions, if I may, just concerning the size of the building if you were to put all 3 at that particular site where the police station is, the size of the building, and I know it's hard to put a visual on it, but I don't know if you can kind of, I'm trying to picture how large that building would be and how it would sit on that property. I keep driving by and I just can't wrap my head around it.
We've got some feedback about that same type of question. So Lori and I met with Chris Gowman today, and one of the things we're going to do is overlay on a photograph building, both a building if it has the police station and an admin, and with a library and the parking garage. So we had that little 3D model last time. We're gonna upgrade that, and we're gonna overlay that, and we should have that, I believe, Lori, right from the July meeting. Maybe to answer your question a little bit more generically, it's a 4-story building from Manoa Road. So 4 times 12, so it's 50 some feet high at 4 stories, and then another 12 feet lower if it was 3 stories. The 4 stories would be at the library. The parking garage would be 2 stories, looking at it from Manoa Road. One at grade, and then the second one would be at grade above it. So it'd look like a 2-car garage. Similar, everybody's been at Borough Media where they have sort of a garage built into the hillside. It'd be similar to that. 4-story building. It's funny, I was driving up the street today, saw Sacred Heart. I think that's 3 stories. So if you want to think about something in the neighborhood, it's another, I guess, 1 more story higher than the Sacred Heart School.
How high is the stadium, do you know?
Stadium's 2 stories. It's 2-story building. So
Okay.
it would be
Taller than the
it'd be about
stadium?
double the stadium.
Double?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's interesting, because as I was looking at it today, again, as we were thinking about doing the model, I think we're going to try to show that.
show the relationship between the top of the stadium building and the top, where the parking garage would be, and the top of the building, again, if it has a library or if it doesn't have a library.
And do you feel that if that structure, if all three are there, that you would absolutely have to have the parking garage? Is that crucial?
Well, that's already been determined as part of the whole program
It is.
with the parking.
You'd have to do it.
If you're going to have a library and you're going to park it the way both the code and the parking manuals say, and with what our experience says you need X amount of spaces. The only way to get those spaces is with structured parking.
And
Because there's no one-dimensional room left to park the site for all three uses without the structured parking.
got it, okay. And do you feel that there's, well, and here's the other piece of the library. I have not been on the board that long, but I do know that there's been a lot of investigation through the years, particularly when the YMCA was going in, about where the library could possibly go, and there was never a good solution. So I'm not sure that can fall, that kind of was put into this whole scenario. Would there be another place for the library? At least that's what I'm taking from a couple of these, where it said the library would be put somewhere else, a separate new library
Well,
somewhere else.
And again, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, but Lori, at Lori's request, we did lay out the library on a couple alternate properties that the township, either one that the township owns on Eagle Road, right near the Eagle and Steel intersection. And we lay out the parking lot, the parking, Bill knows the property, it's the one just in from the.
Oh, you mean separately?
Separate
Yeah, I
property.
did see that.
We parked it out there, we laid it out there, parking won't fit, and.
Right, where the parking lot.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you did in here. I did see that. But you weren't talking about somewhere else
No,
within the-
somewhere else. On Eagle Road at Steel and Eagle intersection.
Right. that's-
Steel and Eagle intersection.
It's a historic site where that house was.
Oh,
The
sure.
house is, it's still there.
Okay.
They're talking about that.
It's too narrow and it's terrible.
Just looking at every site that
Yeah.
the township owns, see if there's any other sites
Okay.
where it could be built. That's what they were tasked.
Did look at the feasibility to see if
It's not.
ignoring frankly even access and
It's just not.
traffic issues, we looked at if the library and the parking could just plain old fit on the property.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to step on
Sorry.
you.
No, no, no.
Dave, but we did look at underutilized township-owned properties. We felt that without there being additional land acquisition costs, if there was another site that was presently owned by Haverford Township that might be used to accommodate the library, we could just do that very quickly, and did it as an internal exercise and ruled that out. We also looked
Right.
at an additional off-site property that wasn't owned by the township, and although it fit, there were $1 million in acquisition costs, and, it was in a residential area.
Okay. Did you have something, Dan?
Well, I just sort of want to clarify for the public. My understanding is, Lori, at the July work session, we will have Chris Galman here, and that's when you anticipated sort of taking more questions and dialogue from the board?
Yeah, it wasn't really, we weren't really anticipating questions
That's
from
my
the
thought.
board this evening. We were looking to see if we can, as President Oliva had indicated at the last meeting, if we could sort of start gathering some of the questions, submitting them to the consulting team, vet them through the team, and try and have researched and reasoned responses.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, there's just a few things that I thought were pretty simple that I kind of need to know going in. I mean, one of them was 28,000 square feet for the library. I'm not sure that that's,
We had to pick a number.
okay,
We were trying to be conscious of the fact that the library was looking for a larger number. I think
Right.
they were looking at 0.75 square feet per capita. But in conversations that I had with the librarian and the president of the board, they felt that they could do something less. So we went with 28,000 and
Okay.
held it through the study, just to be able to compare apples and
Okay.
apples.
great, thank you.
Yeah, Mario, okay. I'm not going to get into a big argument here about the library, but I think it's idiotic to put the library on top of the police station. Number one, the traffic issue would be horrendous. I don't think the taxpayers of Haverford Township had $30 million to spend on these projects. I think that Mr. Bogosian has a good plan, and you'll see it here later. He'll hand it out to everybody. Mr. Bogosian is an architect, and I do think we need an architect involved in this. I really haven't heard down at the police station where there's any real water runoff to that situation. The traffic problem at the police station, I believe, is a lot more serious than what the current figures are showing on these papers. I do think that you need a left-hand turn coming up Darby to get into the complex, whether it be a new police station or whatever it be. And I do think that Mr. Bogosian would be a perfect advocate to help on this study and to do this thing right, where we can get away with a $15 million figure rather than $25 or $30 million. I don't think the people of this township are ready to spend that. I do agree that the library should be renovated at the present site, and Mr. Bogosian's plan will spell out other things that are involved with the library and parking.
Okay.
Mr. President, I just want to clarify historically from the Property Committee's perspective on this. I'm sorry, I thought I was in the microphone. First, as you know, this project began with the Property Committee. The report that we received, which was not overseen by any commissioner or the board, but was a staff study, involved Chris Galman, who is an architect, who had consulted with us. In fact, he consulted with us after Mr. Bogosian, as you know, Commissioner McGarity, was assisting the committee and chose to withdraw from that. So indications that he should be involved are, in fact, he chose, for whatever reasons, and they've never been directly expressed to me, not to be involved. That said, this board specifically, after lengthy debate, asked and directed the staff to come up with recommendations. They did so in a very short time. There is a lot of material there. I don't think any of us is remotely ready to say what is the best or the worst or acceptable or least acceptable. We've received a lot of concepts. We've received a lot of financial data. This is only 1 week later. I've received a number of emails about this, and I think the most prudent thing for this board to be doing is to be reviewing everything and coming to our July meeting with questions, so that on whatever date we do vote on this, whether it's in July or at a meeting at some other time, we are fully prepared. But we have had public input. We have had significant public input. We have had input from various consultants, including a lot of what was done here was based on initial work from the Property Committee. So I think the public just needs to understand that, and that last week, because I've been asked multiple times why we were not commenting, we all saw that presentation for the first time. And I'm not one who likes to just jump and ask questions without the opportunity to at least reflect.
Yes.
And I think that was the perception or the view of the majority of the board. Thank you.
May I just respond to that by, I hate to answer for Mr. Bogosian, but I guess the word's disillusioned. Disillusioned because of the fact that the Property Committee, which I was a member of, basically came up with 3 scenarios. One was the Public Works Yard, number 2 was a police station, and number 3 was this building and the Township building. There was no library involved in this at all, and then finally, somewhere along the line, others got involved and brought up the fact that the library has to be done. So that's why I'm sure Mr. Bogosian got off the board. He was disillusioned by everything that went on there.
Mr. Bogosian can speak for
Yeah, he's
himself.
going to be able to speak.
Yeah, he will speak for himself.
Okay. Any other discussion?
It's,
ahead.
Property Committee, I think we just broached the subject, and I don't think we paid a lot of attention to it or researched a lot into it. But are we, or the Property Committee, looking at, when you renovate the library, are we doing it digital? Can we look at a digital option, or are we doing that or
The
no?
Property Committee's
Property Committee has
Committee
not
gave its
been
report.
involved.
You're not going to get involved in
We're
whether
not,
it's
we're not
digital?
involved in
Unless
that.
the board, I mean, I assume that once the board votes and we make and whatever we decide, or if we, assuming we decide, we're going to, whatever we decide, then the property committee or some committee of this board must oversee the actions, just as we've done with the rec center, just as we've done with the public works yard. I presume it's the property committee, but right now, the deliberations are in public with all of us, and there is no committee. Once you get into a further discussion, then I think it's appropriate, because there'll be real estate and legal issues that warrant some confidentiality at times, and then with reports, as we regularly did.
Right.
I-
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, something that President Bill Clinton said in his State of the Union message. He said, every child can stretch a hand across a keyboard and reach every book ever written, every painting ever painted, every symphony ever composed. I think it's something that we really should consider, because, one, if it saves taxpayers money, that's great. Two, if it keeps the present library where it is now, that's great. And you save some space. You may be able to save some space, but I think it's something to not rule out.
Mr. Williams, I have two requests also that I forgot to mention. Number one, I would like the vote to come in the October meeting. And number two, if that not be satisfied by the board, then just put it on the ballot and let the people of Haverford Township decide if they want it or not.
Okay.
Did we,
We already discussed
Now,
that.
we really gonna debate that
No,
right now?
no, we're not going to debate that.
did we change the
That is
vote?
duly
We're going
noted.
to do that.
No, we
We're
haven't
gonna
changed
do that.
any dates.
No.
Discussion did not
We
go
need-
to that direction.
We need to discuss what date,
If I can ask,
can I just,
yeah, sure.
you're not going to be here
Right,
at the July meeting.
correct.
We need to have a date in which this board can vote, and that would be,
I thought we came up with a date.
No,
We never did? Larry, didn't we come up with a date?
I'm probably not going to be here in August.
Larry,
we haven't discussed it.
did we discuss a date? Or-
Well, we didn't discuss anything.
Right.
Since, the meeting last week, it's become obvious that one or two commissioners have scheduling issues, and so that we're going to
we're
try
just-
tonight,
Tonight to discuss that.
in front of everybody, to talk about the proper time to have that meeting.
Okay, I was
The
just,
idea being sooner rather than later.
That's
I
fine.
don't think,
That's fine.
with the exception of Commissioner McGarity, anybody else was talking about October. And people have heard what I have to say about ballot initiatives. I think this is our job as commissioners to do, and not to kick back to the electorate. But I did want to ask Mr. D'Amelio about the idea of a virtual library. I mean, I expect our library professionals, when given the opportunity to construct a 21st century modern library, that they're going to incorporate everything into that library that makes the most sense. And to the extent that so much is available virtually as opposed to physically, we also need a place at which people can come and access that. A virtual library isn't going to become a desktop on 17,500 households in Haverford Township. We're still going to have one place where people
Yeah,
can
I
gather.
said that.
Yeah, and there are other efforts afoot in modernizing libraries to combine the space associated with the stacks. So much of what we think about right now in libraries are really 21st and even 20th century and 19th century thinking. Long stacks, walking through them, pulling out books and reading them, whereas now, in a variety of places, more modern libraries are being constructed that you still have the physical book, but the physical books are stored in places, far more efficient in terms of using the square footage, and modern technology enables us to get our hands on that book in moments, as opposed to sending somebody some old dusty stack to get it. But